So what's happening, people? It's me again, Courtney, doing my MMA predictions. This time for UFC 134 or UFC Rio. Silva versus Okami. Which should take place on Saturday, the 27th of August 2011 at the HSBC Arena in Rio, in Brazil. I've been looking forward to this card for a while. Not just the fact that it's a decent card, but you know the fact that it's in Brazil. Then it's been a long time since the UFC's been there. But anyway, I'll go from the main, the televised main card up to the main event. I'll give my predictions for that. By the way, today I'm rocking the Born Stronger t-shirt. Go check them out at bornstronger.com. Very good t-shirt, very good MMA, stuff there. It's not just, the MMA stuff. Go and read some of their blogs and that. It's very interesting as well. But anyway, first fight on the main card is Lewis Kane versus Stanislav Nedkov. Is it Nedkov? Yeah, Nedkov. I don't know too much about Nedkov. Lewis Kane, I've seen him fight before. He's 6'2". He's got an 11-3 record. He's tough, good hands, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This is his first fight on the main card of a UFC event since November 2009. His last fight was a win against Elliot Marshall. His last 5 fights had 3 wins and 2 losses, and he's fighting Stanislav Nedkov, who's an undefeated fighter, 11-0, 5'11". He also is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. This is his first time fighting in the UFC and his first time fighting this year. What a way! If he wins, what a way to make an entrance. Beat a Brazilian in Brazil. Your first time fighting in 2011. On your debut in the UFC. Yeah. Can you see that happening? Anyway, his last fight was a win against Augustin Agian. I think I pronounced that right, I'm not sure. But that was in a promotion in Bulgaria. His last 5 fights, he's had 5 wins. As I said, I don't know too much about Nedkov. But if he pulls this win off, what are the odds on that? Must be some big odds. But anyway, I think Lewis Kane is a favourite. But I'm just going to pick Kane to win because it's in Brazil. I don't know too much about Nedkov, so I'm picking Kane to win in Brazil. If Nedkov pulls it off, then wow. Next fight on the card is Ross Pearson versus Edson Barboza. Ross Pearson is the Ultimate Fighter 9 winner. Ross Pearson, very good chin, good hands, very tough character. His wrestling is quite good as well. And he's one of the guys that will dig deep in a fight, He could change. Some fighters just carry on at a certain pace throughout the fight. They don't change, even though the corners tell them to change, do stuff differently. Pearson is the guy that will dig deep and, just pull something out, He'll keep fighting. He's a gritty, determined fighter. Very good, very good spirit, I would say, yeah. But he's decent, For this fight as well, I think he's been training for a few weeks with Dominic Cruz, the UFC bantamweight champ in San Diego. So he's been training with elite fighters. So his game should be up for this fight basically. His last fight was a win against Spencer Fisher. His last 5 fights he's had 4 wins and 1 loss. But he's fighting Edson Barboza, who's undefeated in 8-0 record. He's 5'11". This guy's got good Muay Thai, sick leg kicks. I'm sure he's finished a few fights with those leg kicks. His last fight was against Anthony Okami, and that was fight of the night on that UFC card. I haven't seen it, I know, which is poor. I see some of little bits of the fight. Some of the kicks that they were throwing were crazy. Obviously he's undefeated, so his last 5 fights, all wins. This is a tough fight to call. Maybe fight of the night. It'll be a good war anyway. But I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go with Ross Pearson to win via decision. I think he could pull it out of the bag, but it's gonna be a real war, that is. Next on the card is Anthony Rodrigo Nogueira versus Brendan Schwab. Big Nog, as I like to call him, and everyone else does. Got 32-6-1 record. He's 6'3". Former well, let me see. Former UFC interim heavyweight champion, former Pride heavyweight champion, Abu Dhabi competitor. This guy's done it all. Very well, not very well rounded. Been in the game a long time. You know, got good jiu-jitsu for MMA anyway. Good hands, good boxing. But there's one thing I haven't liked about Nagel. He uses his head to block punches. I think they both do it. Both brothers, Little Nog and Big Nog, they use their head to block punches, which isn't good. And as you get older, and as you've seen in his last couple of fights, he's been getting knocked out. His head movement's not that great as what it used to be. Personally, I think Little Nog's head movement is better than Big Nog's. But even then, it's not that great anymore. So, he's come back off injury as well. He's had knee surgery. Will his cardio be up to scratch? His last fight was against Cain Velasquez. Cain knocked him out. His last 5 fights had 3 wins and 2 losses. He's fighting Brendan Schwab, who's an Ultimate Fighter veteran. He's got an 8-1 record, 6'4". Schwab's got good boxing, very good head movement and very good foot. He has very good foot. Footwork. And he finishes most of his fights as well. His last fight was a win against Krokop. He knocked him out. His last 5 fights had 4 wins and 1 loss. For this fight, Nogueira's going to have to move his head. He's going to have some excellent movement because Schwab will get him. Back in the day, I would have said Nogueira would have, got inside and probably knocked Schwab out. But Schwab's very fast, very agile for how big he is. And I don't think Nogueira's going to keep up unless he takes it to the ground where he's going to have a massive advantage on the ground. And plus it's in Brazil as well, so that whole Brazilian pride and he's got to win, so I don't know. But I said it before, I thought he was going to beat Velasquez and he didn't. But for this one I'm going to go pick Brendan Schwab to win by a knockout. I don't think Nogueira's got the head movement anymore to move out of the way of those punches. So I think Schwab's going to get him somehow, I don't know. But I don't know, I wonder what the odds are for Nogueira winning. We'll see. Next fight on the card is a rematch I've been looking forward to for a long time. It's Mauricio Hua versus Forrest Griffin. Shogun Hua, as people like to call him, 6'1", got 19-5 record, former UFC light heavyweight champion, 2005 Pride Grand Prix winner. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Pride, type it on YouTube, on Google, Pride, Japanese promotion. They had a Grand Prix, and Shogun beat up some really good fighters through that tournament. He beat Alistair Overeem, he beat Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. Who else did he beat? Ricardo Arona. Who else did he beat? Beat Rampage. He battered Rampage as well. But yeah, check that out. That's one of the greatest tournament wins ever that I've seen. But yeah, Shogun Hua got very good Muay Thai, wicked Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He attacks a lot from even when he's on his back. If you've seen the John Jones fight, he was going for legs and arms, ankles. He was attacking off his back. If his wrestling's not that great, so if he gets taken down, obviously takedown defense is okay. But even when he goes to the ground, he still attacks from his back, so he's really good. You have to think twice before taking him down, because I know John Jones was thinking that, because he thought he's got to be careful because Shogun will swing around to the ankle or to the leg. His cardio, he's not been great. He's always he's come back off 2 injuries, big injuries. His cardio's not been that great. There were rumours flying around that he was injured for this fight as well, but he says he's okay. His last fight was against John Jones. He lost his light heavyweight title. His last 5 fights had 3 wins and 2 losses. He's fighting Forrest Griffin, who's got an 18-6 record, 6'3". Forrest Griffin won the Ultimate Fighter 1 in one of the most watched matches ever in history or something like that. Thing I noticed about Forrest Griffin, he's big for light heavy. He's massive. That guy's not small, he's big. good jiu-jitsu, he's very tough, good hands as well. His last fight was against Rich Franklin, and he was Forrest Griffin was coming back off injury, beat Franklin via decision. Although there's a few points he did have a bit of trouble with Franklin, who was smaller. But Forrest Griffin will scrap as well. If you throw, what the hell was that? If you throw down, he will throw down too. In his last 5 fights, he had 3 wins and 2 losses. The first match, the first time they fought, was Shogun's first time in the UFC. Shogun come off an injury, didn't look too good. Still give Griffin a bit of trouble, but ultimately in the end, Griffin won. I was peed off, and I'm sure everybody who watched Pride was peed off as well. And I want to see Shogun beat up Griffin this time. At first, I didn't like Forrest Griffin too much. I thought he's a bit of he's just not. I didn't like. It's not him personally, but it's all the hype surrounding him at the time. I was like, whoa. But as he's gone through the UFC, he's got better. I've seen his skills. He's really good, But my heart goes with Shogun. It's in Brazil again. I know that's poor, but it's in Brazil. It's Shogun, one of my favourite fighters, and I think I don't know if he's going to knock him out, but he may win by a decision. So I'm picking CHOKEWHO to win by a decision. Griffin looked okay in his last fight, but obviously he's come back off injury, so he's a bit slow, a bit rusty. But I think CHOKEWHO will bring it this time, because I think he's not taken such a long layoff. So I think he will be good. But I'm picking CHOKEWHO to win. Next is the main event, which is Anderson Silva versus Yushin Okami. Anderson Silva, the #1 middleweight in the world, probably the best pound for pound fighter in the world. He's got a 30-4 record, 6'2". What do I need to say about this guy that you don't know already? He's got some sick Muay Thai, striking's off the charts. His jiu-jitsu's good. He's a black belt, but I wouldn't say he's world class level. That's my personal opinion. His Brazilian jiu-jitsu is different to Damian Maia's jiu-jitsu. I don't think he could beat Marcelo Garcia in a jiu-jitsu match or a no-gi match. You know what I mean. But he's got his black belt. He hasn't been finished since 2004. He's not lost since... When was the last time he lost? It was against Yushin Okami, and that was a disqualification. But Anderson Silva is a badass. He goes to light heavyweight for a little challenge. Just goes and knocks out James Hunt, and then absolutely humiliates Forrest Griffin for I just do it to my pastime. But yeah, undefeated. But it's badass. The last 5 fights, all wins. TKO Vito Belfort with some super old school kick. Listen, that kick. I was doing that kick in the playground when I was about 6. About Steven Seagal taught me this kick, or Steven Seagal saying this. He taught him the kick, and he's been perfecting the kick for 20 years. Kiss my black ass. But you've been perfecting the kick. No way. I was doing that in school when I was 6. I was doing that kick. So old school, man. Everyone was doing it. Don't tell me about you inventing the kick. Anyway, Anderson Silva's fighting Yushin Okami. My personal opinion is Yushin Okami should have had this title shot ages ago, a good 2 or 3 years ago. He's #3 middleweight in the world, possibly 6'2". This guy's big as well, very strong, tough guy, good wrestling. His hands are getting a bit better as well. Good grappling. He likes to smother people. He just keeps them. He holds them, smothers them. After his fight with Chael Sonnen, he trained at Team Quest for a bit. He's got a black belt in judo. And this guy looks like, if I had a film, I wanted villains. Yushin Okami, Krzysztof Jasinski. Those two would be the main bad guys, because them guys look mean. Very mean. They're scary dudes, man. This guy's a big dude, scary. He scares me anyway. Okami's last fight was against Nathan Marquardt. That was a win by decision. I didn't think he'd do that to Marquardt. I thought Marquardt would win. And his last 5 fights had 4 wins and 1 loss. This is going to be an interesting fight actually, because Okami likes to, if he's going to come with a tactic which like Chael Sonnen came, and just take it to Anderson Silva, not let him stand around, dancing around, doing anything, I think he could possibly be taken to later rounds, and you never know, he may win. But I think Anderson's under more pressure than anybody on this whole card. For me, he's got to prove to Brazilians, like, you know, that he's a badass. He can fight, because there's no way he can get away with what he did against Damian Maia. If he does that, don't be surprised when the Brazilians, like the fans, the Brazilian people boo him. He's got to knock out. He's got to finish Yushin Okami. He has to finish him. If he doesn't, then it's not a dent. You know, it doesn't matter too much. But you know, it's like probably the Brazilian people will be thinking, oh, this guy's rubbish, you know, not rubbish, but you know, why did he finish it? Why is he dancing around? So I think it's important for Anderson Silva to put on a show and batter Okami if he's going to do that. If he lets Okami grab him, he's going to have trouble, because it's going to be like another Chael Sonnen on you, a bigger Chael Sonnen. But anyway, I'm still picking Anderson Silva to win. I'm not sure how he's going to do it, but I just hope it goes. I don't want him to finish it so quick. I'd like him to, you know, fight. I'd like him to fight, go into later rounds. But I think Anderson Silva's going to win. It wouldn't hurt to get another beating. I like to see when the champs get a beating and pull it out of the bag and win, like he did against Chael Sonnen. Every champ needs a beating now and again. George St. Pierre's due one as well. Not that I don't dislike him, but you know, it's just good for them to get a beating now and again. Put them in the place. But anyway, those are my predictions. The card's stacked, man. There's loads of decent fights, really good fights. There's Paulo Thiago's fighting, Rafael Assunção fighting, Usman Pajares versus Dan Miller. I thought Dan Miller was dropped by the UFC. He must have got brought back. Spencer Fisher versus Thiago Tavares. That's a good fight as well. And there's some other Brazilian dudes I've never heard of before. I've heard of them, but I've never seen them fight. And those guys can put on a really good show. But anyway, those are my picks. Those are my predictions. Follow me on Twitter with the same username, CHOKEWHO. What else am I? I'm on Google Plus now as well. Where else am I? Yeah, just follow me. Whatever. I train at Leicester MMA. LeicesterMMA.co.uk. Go and check us out. If you're in the Midlands, come and train with us. I'm telling you, train with us. But yeah, as I said in the last video, I'm going to change up the video slightly. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. But anyway, if you've got any suggestions or anything, send me a message on here. But yeah, there's my predictions. Peace.